Welcome to Podnutz Daily for August 28, 2008, episode number 66. All right, you might notice the red background. I am angry today, but that's not the real reason why I did the red background. I just felt like switching things up a little bit. I'm going to, every once in a while, I'll throw a different color up there just to mix things up. But okay, here's why I'm mad. I'm actually really pissed off. I calmed down a little bit. You should have seen me earlier, but I talked a little bit a couple days ago about using Microsoft Office Accounting. What's it called? Microsoft Office Accounting Professional 2008 or Small Business Accounting Professional, whatever it's called. And we were using it pretty good at the shop to do our books and whatnot. We were looking for a good program to use, and it seemed pretty solid. So we were kind of happy with it. And here's the thing. There's two people in my shop, me and my dad. I wanted to be able to enter stuff. When a customer comes in, I wanted to be able to enter a customer's name and information in my computer. And if I'm not there, I wanted it so that my dad could enter stuff on his computer, and we share the same database. And this program has that feature. It's called multi-user. You know, like QuickBooks has stuff like that. It's just this normal thing for those kind of programs. Well, we followed the instructions exactly. Could not get the thing to work. We spent a couple hours trying to figure out why we could not get multi-user working. I couldn't use it on my computer. My dad's computer was fine. That's where the database was stored. I couldn't use it on mine. And we looked in the forums. We looked on the website. Nothing to actually fix it. So we called Microsoft. And, you know, we proceeded to my dad was on the phone, and he talked to one person for about 5 minutes or so. They took all his information down. Then they couldn't help him, so they had to transfer him. Transferred him to another person who had no idea why he was transferred to them in the first place and could not help him either. And then was transferred to a third person who probably had an IQ of about 70. And the gist of it was, according to the last person, they would not offer support for this product because we were using a trial copy. You know, I'm trying different programs. I'm thinking about buying one for the shop. Well, so with this Office Accounting, you get a 60-day trial period just to test it out and see if you like it. Well, we were liking it. We were testing it out. And then we ran into that problem where it wasn't working. So we called to find out if anybody could help us fix that problem. And they wouldn't support us unless we bought the software. So guess what? I'm not buying the software. You just lost the sale, you dummies. God, they're so stupid. Anyway, you know, I'm not a big fan of Windows or Vista in general, but for them to do something like this makes Microsoft like low in my book. I think they are not long for this world, and they really got to watch themselves because Apple's catching them, and even if Apple was half as good, I think they would catch them. So watch out, Microsoft. Okay, worked on an HP laptop today. It was a HP 510 was the model number of it. Interesting laptop. I don't see too many of them around. Real light model, but it's like a 15-inch monitor and everything is all normal on it. It looks like a DV6000, but a real super light model of it. And I've been working on this computer. This is, incidentally, this is the computer of the man who I erased all of his data off of that fiasco a couple weeks ago. Well, I was still fixing his laptop because it was not booting properly. When you turn it on, the power would go on. You'd see the HP screen, and it would stick there, you know. You couldn't get into the BIOS. Sometimes you would get a little farther in the boot process, like the boot screen would go away, and the hard drive might consider trying to run. But it was just erratic like that. And I remember a past Toshiba I worked on like that, where it was erratic at boot up. Like it would sometimes boot to the CD or something. It would just do whatever it wanted at boot up. I've tried replacing the RAM, you know, taking out the wireless card and all the components of the motherboard, and just wanted to see exactly what it was. Well, with almost a bare motherboard with just the processor and one stick of RAM and the screen hooked up, it was doing the same thing. So I deduced, because I had a similar problem like this before, it was the processor. Now, this is only like the second time or third time I've been in this business that the processor was the problem. But I switched out the processor and everything was fine. So that handled that problem. Now, as I booted up after I got the good processor in, Windows loaded fine, everything worked great, the wireless card was enabled, but it would not find any wireless networks, even though there was wireless networks in the area. So I've run into this problem before, where it's usually a hardware switch somewhere on the computer that you have to switch on that turns the wireless signal on. It's like called the wireless radio. You turn the radio on, and then you could see the wireless networks in the area. Well, this would not. It had a button right on the computer, a little wireless signal, and you pressed the button and nothing happened. Well, it occurred to me that maybe it's disabled in the BIOS. But then that thought, for some reason, left my mind, and I tried about 10 or 20 other solutions before I said, oh, yeah, I forgot. Maybe it's in the BIOS. Well, guess what? It was in the BIOS. And in the BIOS, there was a setting to enable wireless or disable wireless. And I enabled it. Everything worked fine. So that was that. Then we had a Dell desktop, blue screen of death with the error. IRQ not less or equal than, I think that's all it says, something like that. I've had experience with this before, and sometimes when I swap out RAM, it gets rid of that error. Well, I swapped out the RAM on this one, it got rid of that error. Unfortunately, after we were working on it after a while, we got a different blue screen that said unmountable boot volume. So I think something's just really messed up with the hard drive or the OS, and we're going to work on that a little bit tomorrow. If anybody, this is a separate thing, if anybody has ever tried to open the Run box in Vista, you'll notice there's no option to click on the Run box. Like in XP, you go to Start Run. If you press the Windows button and hold down R, you get the Run box in Vista. So I got in my notes here, Microsoft sucks, but I got to. It's actually in there twice. So that was pretty much it for today. I spent most of my time honestly trying to get the multi-user settings for the Microsoft accounting to working. And we spent hours on that because I need to be able to enter customers into my computer. We just switched off of QuickBooks over to this Microsoft accounting, and now we're going to have to find another one, another program. So that is that. Let me read a couple emails here. Hamrad writes, I have a computer that, let me see if everything's working. Okay. I have a computer that when I put the audio cable to line in, the video goes out. The cable does not have anything connected to it on the other end, nor is it shorted. Also, sometimes when I connect to the USB port, the video goes out or the computer reboots. Any ideas what might be causing this? Great shows. Thanks for your time, Hamrad. My guess is it's a motherboard. It sounds like it's hardware related, something shorting out on the motherboard somewhere. That would be my best guess for that. You could check drivers, but it does not likely. It sounds like a motherboard problem to me. But go ahead and reinstall some drivers. Maybe that'll work, like the video driver or the audio driver. Just reinstall the drivers, see if that does anything. Those are my suggestions. Okay, Matt writes, perhaps this is a silly idea, but how about a fireplace bellows? Now, guys, a fireplace